What's up, dudes? What's the universe? Your Majesty Geeky here, and welcome to a new episode. And this movie I haven't seen in years. I remember watching this movie specifically when it came on Adult Swim or Cartoon Network late at night. I don't remember if it was 10 or midnight. I'm pretty certain it was midnight. And I remember watching it when it first premiered on Adult Swim. And the reason why this movie is made for adults and for very good reasons, there's a lot of blood and gore inside this movie, and that is Justice League: The New Frontier, based on the graphic novel by Darwin Cook. Now, obviously, this is one of the best Justice League movies ever. I have actually read the graphic novel because, weirdly enough, my library had a collection of graphic novels and manga back during the early 2000s. I don't know if they still do now, um, but that's how I was able to read like Naruto for my first time, and it was also how I was able to read a bunch of other graphic novels that I was into. And they, luckily enough, had a copy of Justice League: The New Frontier, so I took it out from the library, as well as a few other graphic novels. But this is probably one of the coolest Justice League movie that you can see, and I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it already. I was lucky to get this at a Walmart in a $5 DVD bin, and this is the commemorative edition, which comes with a lot of special features about just the Justice League and everything. So it is 1950s, and superheroes have been around for quite some time. They talk about the Justice Society, they talk about Superman first appearance, Batman first appearance. So they really kind of go into and delve into the whole entire history of it. Um, and one thing that happened that they end up talking about in the movie was Our Man dying. Now, I do own the Geoff Johns JSA run, the first book of it, and they in the JSA of Geoff Johns they talk about Sandman, the original Sandman, Sandy Hawkins, ended up dying. So they, talk about Our Man dying. Maybe that is a nod to the JSA run that was happening at the same time that this came out. I have no idea. Um, but yeah, they talk about how that he's dead, that the Korean War is basically done and over with. There's a lot of wars that are done and over with, but government sees superheroes as basically the main cause of all these disasters and everything. And I'm like, that reminds me a lot of the Incredibles by Disney, because after a while of them being superheroes, the government eventually turned on superheroes and told them like, no, 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 you can't be superheroes no more. You have to go back to your normal everyday life. So this has a nod to a lot of older DC stories, which is not a bad thing. There's a lot of older DC characters that show up during this. They have the original Rick Flag showing up in this. They have the first appearance of Carol Ferris. They have, the original Flash, Barry Allen after he showed up, or not the original Flash, that's Jay Garrick, but, still. And this has a stellar voice cast in it. And one person in particular who did the best voice acting job, or two best people. One is Neil Patrick Harris as Flash. He really captured the voice of Barry Allen for me. I mean, I'm not really a Barry Allen fan. I grew up with Wally West, but he really captured like the character of Barry Allen. And of course, in this, Barry Allen kind of has a really remarkable character development and all this, because it's like, oh, I'm Barry Allen, I'm the Flash, kind of thing. And they even talk about the relationship between him and Iris, which is pretty important for the Flash. I mean, Iris had been there since the beginning and everything. And then there's Lucy Lawless as Wonder Woman. I gotta tell you, she's probably too old to do it now. Maybe not voice acting wise, but we need to get Lucy Lawless back as Wonder Woman. And it questions me why, while she was doing, or after that she did Xena, which didn't last that long, as a TV series, there was no reason why she couldn't have done a Wonder Woman TV series, because Lucy Lawless as Wonder Woman, holy crap, she is amazing. Like, she really captures the voice to me of Wonder Woman. Now, I love Susan Eisenberg as Wonder Woman. She is my Wonder Woman, specifically because that's the one that I grew up with and remember the most. Gal Gadot did a good job. Of course, Linda Carter did an amazing job. But I really feel like we should have Lucy Lawless back as Wonder Woman at some point, because she's an amazing Wonder Woman. She really is. There is a moment in this when Wonder Woman sort of like has a breakdown with the female characters in this because in China or in Korea, I think it was China, um, Superman go to visit Lois because he heard about what happened, and Superman, of course, is kind of working alongside the government, and they talk about um, like he asked her like, "What are you doing, Diana? You're killing all these people, and for what?" And all the Chinese women point their guns at Superman, and he's like, you can tell them that they be wasting their bullets, really, you know. And she goes, "Oh, relax, Cal. Relax, Cal. Well, there's nothing to worry about. I only disarmed the men. Like Wonder Woman, you should have gotten rid of the guns because kind of relevant that they killed basically their own husbands and whatnot in this. If some of them were married to some of the soldiers, it's kind of relevant that like they probably turned on their own men and it's like, oh, well, that kind of is a little awkward, you know. That awkward dinner conversation with your child, like, "Mommy, what happened to Daddy?" "Oh, I shot him in the face 1,000 times." Fair is fair in this. I'm really focused on Martian Manhunter, who makes his first appearance here, and what's really funny is that they referenced his first appearance in Detective Comics back during the day, which was very nice, and they even made him a detective, the Detective John Jones. Of course, the Martian Manhunter's actual name is John Johns, but it was nice to have them reference his actual first appearance back in Detective Comics when he was a quote-unquote detective, but he also used his superpowers to save the day. And they made it relevant that he does hate fire, and there is a long story behind that I'm not going to get into. But basically, John Johns hate fire. If you know the reason why, good for you. I don't really want to get into this and make the video like longer than it should be. But there is an alien race that's coming into this called the Center, and everybody was trying to figure out like what's the Center, what's the Center, and I think I remember reading about it in one Justice League comic back during the day. Was that the Center was like this big alien race that came to be? They do reference one of the Suicide Squad, the original Suicide Squad book, which was called Dinosaur Island, and I'm like, oh my god, that's a nod towards the original Suicide Squad with the Dinosaur Island thing. Um, so the Center basically controls like huge meteorite thing, and it has like the alien dinosaur things that go out and they kill people, and they do basically do my bidding, do my evil biddings, go and kill everybody for me. There is even a moment in this where the Superman that I know, who risked his life to save people, which he did, and then he got smacked down and beaten by the dinosaur creatures. I'm like, that is the Superman I know. Which also gave a guest appearance of Aquaman at the end of it. But, even at the moment when Wonder Woman comes flying in with her invisible plane and blood is splattered on the inside of the plane, and, she's begging Kal-El for help, and, he yells out for a medic, that is Superman. That is legit Superman. Now, Batman in this doesn't really have a big character development. He is hardly ever around. They do reference his first costume where he wears the purple gloves and everything. They mentioned the first appearance of Robin, who was in this, which was very nice, noting that he needed a sidekick. And they do actually reference the reason why Batman needed a sidekick was because during his comic book sales, Batman wasn't really appealing towards kids, so they wanted to make a sidekick so Batman would appeal more to kids. I'm like, that is cool. That is legitimately cool. That is actually a thing that happened. But Hal Jordan is basically also a bigger character in this. They do reference like what he's doing, why he's in space, and they give him a little bit of a backstory. When he was in Korea, he was fighting with a kid, and he accidentally shot the kid in the face and killed him, and he was in a military psychiatric ward for a while. Something that's a nice little nod, probably to pretty much the origin of Hal Jordan. They do, have Abensor in there. They even reference the first spacecraft that Hal Jordan was in when he met Abensor, which was nice too as well. They always reference the Justice Society breaking up, which they do at the beginning of the movie, and yeah, they do have a lot of references to the older characters, like the Black Hawk, the DC hero group, the Black Hawk. Adam Strange was in this, Green Arrow was in this. I think they called the Mystery Men were in this, or the Science Group Squad or something was in this. Like a lot of old, really retro heroes. They even reference Buddy Blakes, who is the original OMAC created by Jack Kirby. I never knew that when I first watched it. I knew who OMAC was, but I never really caught that. And when I watched it again, I'm like, who is that guy? Who was very familiar. And then the poster goes up to Buddy Blake. I'm like, that's where I know you from. Like, that's where I know that name from. It's from the original OMAC created by Jack Kirby. Um, and also at the end, there's a lot of like references to the other superheroes and superhero teams, like the Teen Titans and everything. What really got me was that they had Black Canary as a part of the Teen Titans. Black Canary wasn't on the Teen Titans. Black Canary was a teacher technically for Young Justice. I think she was also a teacher for Teen Titans, but mostly her place is the Justice League. And if she's on the Teen Titans, that means that she should have never married Green Arrow because Green Arrow was really a lot older than she is in this universe. I don't know how this universe works, but it probably shouldn't work for what it is. Granted, I haven't seen this since 2008 when this originally came out. I still remember late at day. I was staying with my grandmother, and I was up late at night because I couldn't sleep, and I was watching different TV shows, and I think I was watching Family Guy. I think, and then this came on. This is a really brilliant film put together, and it really describes like what the Justice League is, especially to me, because this also kind of references my Justice League, and of course maybe your guys' Justice League that you guys have grown up with. Even you're probably thinking like, this was really weird or stupid. Don't think that. It's a beautifully crafted animation film. The animation is flawless. The voice actors are superb. Um, all the voice actors really, but the two that really stuck out to me was Neil Patrick Harris as Flash and Lucy Lawless as Wonder Woman. Both do a superb and great job. I'm surprised that we didn't get Neil Patrick Harris singing because he was Music Meister in Batman the Raven of Old. I'm the Music Meister, and you are all my pawn. So, the final battle of this actually had like Ray Palmer, aka the Atom, working alongside him to basically take down the center and everything. And, it's a really fantastic put together, crafted film and everything. And Superman even made the reference when they have Johns, the Martian Manhunter, as a captive. He goes, "You're an alien, you trust me, but you don't trust him." And it's like, that's kind of a nod towards racism. That's pretty unique. Um, Basically, it's like almost somebody of the same race, but you just don't like them because they like look more different than the other person. A little cute nod there. Um, and John ends up working with Faraday, and I know that name Faraday from somewhere. I just can't remember where specifically. But if you have the time, I highly recommend checking out Justice League: The New Frontier. It is a great animation film. It really pays nod to the older DC that it was basically created, basically DC. They have Superman in his old, um, cartoon thing where he had like the black logo with the red S. A nice nod towards that. And the final fight scene is really what stands it out. And at the end, they actually play audio from one of the speeches of President John F. Kennedy, which, I was trying to remember it when I was watching it. I was like trying to remember toward the ending. I'm like, who was the president that was speaking at the end? And I was going, it's either Kennedy or it's Carter. I was like, I can't remember. And then at the end, I could hear John F. Kennedy's voice, and I'm like, that's JFK. That's JFK. So, yeah, they actually play one of his, audio speeches from a long time ago, and it really sounds, superb at the end of it. It was the old splash scenes of the other teams being made, like the Suicide like the Doom Patrol, the Suicide Squad, and a bunch of other teams being made, Really a cute, a nice nod to everything. It's like, DC what it was, and then like slowly coming into what it is now, which was superb, and ending on that beautiful splash page of the Justice League of America. I was like, Bravo, you know. If you haven't seen this movie yet, I recommend that you do. I haven't seen it since 2008, and here it is, 2021. But still, such a beautifully crafted film, and I love it. I would probably even recommend it to a bunch of people who are diehard DC fans. You should be able to watch this. Not sure if everybody has, but again, it is rated PG-13, and there is a lot of blood and gore, and it's especially towards the ending of the film, which the ending makes it all the worthwhile watching. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any specific movies that you'd like me to check out, do a review or thoughts and opinion on, let me know. I do have a bunch more things coming up, a bunch of really cool ideas, working in the progress of doing. So thank you guys so much for watching. And I'm Lazy Universe. And remember, there's always a dinosaur planet out there. But more than likely, instead of Jurassic Park, where they're kind and gentle creatures, they'll probably eat our faces off. Until next time.